Ba, ba, ba,
Yeah.
ba, ba, ba.
Yo, yo, yo. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a brawl for it all today.
Oh,
MarALago, lock him up. Lock him up. Yes.
no, we're not locking
Let's
him up.
go.
Dude,
Let's
listen.
go. Let's go.
Before we even get into the BS of this whole situation, I have one thing I want to say to you, and I'm going to put it out there for the rest of the fucking world.
Okay, I'm here. That's why we're here.
If the DOJ can do what they just did to a former president, but they weren't willing to do to Hillary Clinton, who literally deleted 33,000 emails.
Absolutely,
no, she murdered people. She murdered people. Okay,
to
and she's still not behind bars. This is crap. And if they can do it to a former president, what can they do to you?
Well, no, yeah.
This isn't just about Trump. This is about constitutional rights.
If a person commits a crime, guess what? Yeah, the FBI can investigate whether it's a president, whether it's a janitor. What do you mean? If you
how is Hillary Clinton not behind bars for murder?
Okay, so we'll talk. First of all, I don't want to get too far into whataboutism because that's your favorite thing to do. But let's talk about Hillary Clinton. They investigated her. You know what? And they also made a public pronouncement 7 days before the election, which essentially gave Trump the 2016 election. And they investigated. And what they said at the end of the investigation was she was careless. She shouldn't have done it. But nothing that she did rose to the level of a criminal act. That's what the FBI said. Now, I'm sure you don't believe anything you say, but that's what they said.
No.
So how do we get past? I mean, this is kind of like the critical element of these discussions. How do we get past the fact that when you go, why didn't they do anything? And they announced that they'd done the investigation. They basically said she was careless, but it didn't rise to the level of a criminal act. What do you want? Like, what do you want to happen besides what happened
against President Trump? Then, like, I want to know.
So there's a couple, right? There's concealing federal documents, there's retaining documents, and there's destroying documents. Then there's also holding classified documents. There's 4, and they laid it out in the affidavit of the 3 different federal regulations federal laws that he potentially violated.
So you're saying when he declassified the documents in his presidency, they're now saying
he never did that. First of all, he never did that. There is no evidence anywhere whatsoever that he ever declassified documents. And by the way, even if he had, 3 of those laws had nothing to do with classification. They're not his documents. They belong to the country, the United States of America. So when you retain documents, classified or not, conceal documents, classified or not, destroy documents, classified or not, you're still potentially liable under the law. So the declassification is just something he fucking made up because that's what he does. He makes things up, and you guys believe him, but you don't believe anybody else.
I do not believe the current administration or anybody that works under the current administration. Absolutely.
But you believe Trump. You believe Trump.
Absolutely. 100%.
The most pathological liar who's maybe ever existed on this planet. You believe him. Do you believe anybody who worked for Trump? Do you believe anybody who was underneath Trump? I
had friends that worked for President Trump, and I trust them implicitly with my life and my kids' lives.
I don't care about your friends.
Yes, I trust those people.
What about the government? People who worked under Trump, the vice president, the staff, the departments. And is Trump the only guy who actually tells the truth?
Literally threw him under the bus.
No, I'm asking. No, so you don't believe this?
To save his life.
Well, let's talk about who you believe. You believe Trump, okay?
Yep.
The biggest liar in history. You don't believe his vice president.
What makes him the biggest liar in history? Because thus far, his track record while he was in office, everything he said he was going to do, he did. So I'm a big believer in actions and words aligning. And he did what he said he was going to do. The country was in a really great place. We did not have all this destruction. We did not have all this division.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We were in hell. For 2006, 2020, we were practically at civil war.
Because you did not like him.
Half the country was up in arms, and half the country was a part of a cult that thinks that
Democrat
he was God's
and Republican.
Gift. Okay, again, we're way off.
I asked you what deems him a liar. I want to know what
the 33,000 lies that Washington Post documented of him lying. The fact that in his book he said, "I lie. I call it truthful hyperbole. I lie." the times when he was recorded talking to Bob Woodward when he said, I lied about the pandemic because I didn't want people to freak out. I mean, every time this guy speaks, he lies.
So you're saying to me that no politician ever lies?
No, I'm telling you, Trump lies. I'm saying we're talking about Trump.
Okay.
So
well,
Trump is the biggest liar of them all.
He's not the biggest liar of them all. Okay. Currently, Joe Biden is the biggest liar of them all.
Okay, fine. He's a liar. That's fine. We're off the topic. Let's get back to the topic. Okay. But he's the biggest liar. But that, again, it's off the topic. Let's go back to MarALago. Let's go back to the facts, if we can even discuss the facts of what happened. Do you believe he was entitled? Yes, exactly. Me too. Do you believe he was entitled to have those do you believe those documents were in MarALago? First, let's start with that. Do you believe that he had documents in MarALago from his presidency, or were they planted?
I mean, maybe they were.
What do you believe? I mean, I know you don't know, but what do you believe it?
I mean, he has an attorney that says that they looked in his house for specific documents. They scanned everything. I mean, the dates that break down from January 21 until August 8th, 2022, right? There's kind of like a broken down timeline of how it all happened. He probably did have documents, but I but I want to like pin that for a second, right?
Okay.
Let's just pin. Let's just say, because they're coming after him again, witch hunt. I totally believe it's witch hunt. What's in all of those documents? Because, you know, he's on trial or whatever for this January 6th BS, and they will not allow him to submit certain evidence that would be beneficial to his case. So what if those documents actually prove
wait, I don't understand what you just said. Who's they, and what evidence and what case? So the DOJ is not allowing him to do what? What are you talking about? Say again.
Submit specific documents and videos and evidence that he had nothing to do with January 6th. Right?
Who's not allowing him to do that? You're talking about the January 6th committee? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, let's just for a second, because I'm kind of rabbit holing here, but I want to loop back around. Who's to say that some of that documentation that they're coming after him right now, that they're saying is like classified and all that, what if that has something to do with getting him off about that? And now he's here, take it, go ahead. And now because they've subpoenaed it and they've taken it, they have to have it. It now is admissible evidence in court. Did you ever think about that? That's a concept.
I'm trying to understand your argument because it's so fascinating to me. So the argument is that he had these documents that he was keeping because they were part of his case that he was involved January 6th. And you think that the FBI was saying he's got exculpatory evidence, so let's go get it from him before he can introduce it. Is that the argument?
No. So they don't know that there's evidence.
Who's they?
That the DOJ, the committee, the government. The government I can't currently stand. Washington, D.C., the lump sum of all the things. I can't say bad words because, you know.
So there's once again a massive multi-level, multinational conspiracy against this guy.
I don't know if it's necessarily the conspiracy. It's just when you start to think about like a chess match, right? And you're trying to get out of your opponent.
He's quite a chess player. That Donald Trump. Okay, I don't want to cast aspersions on the.
I'm equating it to that, right? Like if you're trying to get ahead of your opponent who's trying to take you down, and you know it's coming, like he knew it's coming. Okay. Anyway, pause. So we'll go back to the whole, were there documents? From what I've gathered and what I've read, I'm going to have to say, yeah, there are probably documents in his house.
Okay.
Why else would they raid his house?
So let's just take that little piece.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can go. That's fine.
No, you're up, Princess.
So if you agree that there are documents there, if you knew that there was a law that says a president is not allowed to take documents belonging to the U.S. government back to his home, would you say that he was in violation of that law?
Well, didn't Hillary have a private server with 33,000?
I don't care about. We can talk about her in a second. We'll talk because, by the way, so did Ivanka and Jared.
I mean,
let's not talk about them at all. But Ivanka and Jared had the same thing. But no. But let's just talk about Trump, okay? And then we'll convict Hillary at the last 15 minutes.
Don't know what those exact documents are, and that's
if there's a law. No, that's not the question because I'm giving a hypothesis. We're in law school right now. They do this in law school. The teacher just asks you questions. It's called the
Laws
Socratic
up
method.
to interpretation, but go ahead.
It's basically like torture for 24-year-old children. But regardless, so if there's a law that says a citizen, anybody is not allowed to be in possession of documents that are owned by the United States government. That's your law. A citizen cannot have documents owned by the government.
Are these
And he
classified
had them.
documents? Is there a caveat of classified or declassified?
There's no caveat. No.
I'm asking. Okay.
So the government has a document. We'll call it a bill. There's a bill, and the United States government owns that document. I, Dan Zeroni, Dan and Dante, takes that document, and I have it in my house. Yeah, I have it in my house now. And there's a law that says I'm not allowed to have it. Am I guilty? Am I guilty of violating a federal law?
When he was the president of the United States, did he not have a computer on a locked server at MarALago? So when he went to MarALago, he couldn't access the emails as president of the United States? And I'm asking this question because, look.
Well, a document is property.
Correct.
The document is property. It's an actual physical object that is owned by the government.
Okay.
Like, so, let's say I'll tell you what. Let's try something different.
Printed document. He didn't have the printed document, right? In his house.
No, I'm giving you the hypothetical. I want you to answer my. You can give me your own hypothetical back, but I want you to. So you won't answer.
He can do whatever he wants. That's how I feel.
Oh, so the president's above the law. So the president
this particular this one right now is totally violating the Constitution and committing treason every day. So apparently, it's a rogue nation we live in at these points. Yeah.
But is that so? You're okay with the president being above?
I'm not okay with it. But apparently. Nobody follows the law anymore, so shit.
But we can go to Biden in a second about all the treasonous acts he's doing, whatever you're going to say, that's fine. I'm just talking about this one specific incident, and that there's a law that says you're not allowed to retain, possess documents owned by the government. If he was in possession,
quote unquote documents that
who cares? They're owned by their own. Look, you have a TV in your house. If I take the TV.
Yeah, what if
that's not the hypothetical. We'll get to that in a second. I'm asking for an answer to the hypothetical.
Yeah, you can take the documents. Go to the next stage. Go.
I'm
doing this just to mess with you. Go ahead. Yeah, he can take the documents. Now tell me.
Oh, he can.
You're a lawyer. You're in law school. Yeah.
Even though I'm not, I haven't been in law school in 30 years, thank God. Although I did recently pass the bar. Forget about that.
Congratulations.
Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, well, of course. I mean, what do you expect from me?
Tattoo.
So you do agree then, if there's a law that says you can't possess documents and you possess them, you are in violation of the law?
Nah.
Just a mythical person. Forget about Trump. Just a person. Me, Dan and Dante. If I had documents that are owned by the government, like Reality Winner, there's that girl, Reality Winner. She had one document. She went to jail for, I think, 7 years. 4 years, 7 years. I forgot. That was her name. You can look her up when we're done with the podcast.
That's a terrible name.
Is it? I mean, it's amazing.
Anyway,
star. Look, I mean, you got Kim Kardashian, American Northwest. I mean, what are you going to do? It's the world today. So I don't know if we have an answer to the question yet. Do we have an answer? Is a person who has a document that is owned by the United States government, if they have it in possession in their house, are they in violation of that law?
No.
And why? And why?
Because I don't know how. Well, first of all, again, I don't know what quote unquote documents this person has. This person, I don't know. How do I know that they are legal documents? Who's to say they're legal documents?
It's not about legal. It's a document that's, look, if you have a TV that you own and I take that TV and put it in my house, have I violated a law?
Yeah, but how do I know it's my TV? It's not my name on it.
I'm saying it's your TV. I took your TV and put it in my house. Am I in violation of a law?
No, I have 5 more. It's fine. I'm generous.
This is the best part. This is the best part.
I'm not going to let you in.
But here's the interesting part about the.
I want to hear. So get to the point, Edith. Like, what are you trying to say?
No, that is the point. The point is.
So that's fine. So how about this? So the law is up to interpretation, right? And there are circumstances behind this document or documents being in possession, right? But the question is, are they truly government documents? How do we know? We don't know because they've been seized. No one has yet to see any of these documents. Do you see them? Are they public records?
Did you see the picture? The picture of the document spread all over the floor.
saw,
Did you see?
no. That's like a cover on a folder that says secret, whatever. That's not the actual documents. I don't see the 15 boxes of classified documents and whatever, the 184 marked classified, 67 marked confidential, 92 marked secret, and 25
So you
marked
just
top
don't
secret.
believe.
I don't
Well, let me ask
see
you this.
the actual
Okay.
PDF of these documents.
Well,
How
let
do
me
I
ask
know
you.
they're real?
Well, let me ask you this.
Listen, I'm posing a question. I'm opposing
No,
counsel.
and I'm happy to answer. Let's assume, for the sake of this discussion, that they are real, and then we'll also assume they're not real. Okay, so let's do both.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you assume that they are real, they actually are real, and he had them, and they found them, and that's what they are. Do you now believe he's in violation of a law?
No, because there's a reason why he has those documents. There's something in there
What's
that
the
somebody
reason?
doesn't want anyone to see. I'm going to go back to my January 6th because there's probably something in there that recuses him of all of this crap that's
I don't
going
see
on.
any documents. Where are these documents?
Oh, no, listen, there's probably documents all day long. But let's be honest. I mean, if we're going to really again, the government has done a lot of shady stuff since it was formed. Okay. The FBI, the DOJ, the DOD.
But
they
Trump
all
hasn't
do
done any
shady
shady
crap.
stuff. But Trump hasn't.
Every single businessman in the entire world that's ever made a name for himself has done shady crap. He's done shady deals. He's laundered money. Yes, 100%. And anybody who thinks otherwise is a dumbass. I'm sorry. Okay. The government is up here. We, the people, are down here. We are supposed to control and dictate and, vote people in office that are supposed to work on our behalf. But that's not what happens. This is a shit show. And we all know it.
But
so at the end of the day, who's to say that any of this is true? Who's to say these documents are what they say they are?
What if it is
true?
This is information. That's my point. Okay. But what if it is true?
I want to know what the documents are. I want to know why we're going after these documents.
What you're saying,
what's in them? How did anybody even know he took them? That's the question. If he took them, right, and they're stored in his house, the only people that know would be like him and maybe 4 other people, right?
Did you read?
Literally.
Did you read the affidavits? Do you know he's at MarALago? Like he has staff, he has witnesses, he has people coming in and out all the time, like some people do. And the FBI had heard, I think, from 4 different witnesses that, hey, there's documents down there. And by the way, let's go back for a second. Do you believe?
Who are these witnesses?
Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know yet, but clearly they saw something, and that's what the FBI was basing. That's the way the world works. There's witnesses who say something happened, and then there's an investigation to see if it actually did happen. But let's go back a little bit because we're kind of going in circles a little bit. So the National Archives, because they don't want to. I mean, because if they're going to mention the names, guess what? All your MAGA buddies can go and try and kill them, right? Because that's what you guys do. You kill people who disagree with you. But let's go back. So the National Archives first.
I have never killed anyone. I've killed some ants and a spider.
I've never had cancer, but I know there's a lot of people who've had cancer in the world. But
I don't know any people that are MAGA people that have killed anyone. Like I
know 870 people who were indicted and charged criminally for January 6th. So,
but no one died on their behalf.
Okay. All right. So that's your new barometer. If we haven't killed anybody, it's fine.
You just said all of us MAGA people kill people, and I'm saying to you, we've not killed anybody. So don't
I was being facetious, and what you now do is take a joke.
You better retract. You better retract your statement right now. I'm writing it. Did you see that court reporter? The court reporter got it.
I'm retracting nothing. Okay. So let's go back to the process. Okay. Let's go back to the process. So, because I think you've already agreed that he violated the law. But you just don't care because Biden has and Hillary has and everybody else has. So the National Archives believed that there was documents with him. They sent a letter and they requested the documents. He provided some of the documents. Some.
They retrieved 15 boxes of documents from his house.
Right. So do you believe that that was all of the documents? Or do you believe that there was more after the 15 boxes?
I believe that's the amount of documents he had. Okay,
cool. So after that first 15 boxes, they went back And the lawyers actually gave him more documents. There was more documents the second time. And at that point, Christina Bobb signs an affidavit that says, these are all, to my knowledge, these are all the documents that exist. So actually, you were wrong. That was not all the documents. They had a second dump of documents. And now they had a testimony, an attestation from Christina Bobb under penalty of perjury saying, to my knowledge, these are all the documents. Do you believe that that was all the documents that he had as of that point?
Where do you find that she said, and Christina Bobb signed off and said what you just said?
We're on a podcast. I can't pull up the document because that's what happened. She signed it, and it's everywhere. It's part of the affidavits. The document exists. Her signature is there. I mean, they've deleted out her name. They blacked her name because they don't want to accuse her. But that's the reality. Everybody knows it was Christina Bobb, the One American News Network anchor who's now his attorney. Anyway, do you believe that that second document dump was all the documents that he had?
I don't believe there was a second dump. Look, I've been reading a lot about this to just triple check and double check. All I keep seeing is 15 boxes, and then it breaks down the number of specific documents that were in these 15 boxes. So I'm not sure what articles you're reading. Like, obviously, depending on what news channel you're reading, it could be a little biased, right? So I always like to
even the right wing networks say that there was the initial 15 boxes, and then the National Archives believed there was more. And so there was the second dump where they gave more documents. There's a whole chronology of it, all the letters.
I have
posted. In fact, one of your
really
right-wing people had posted a letter that came from the National Archives where they went through the chronology of what had happened. So there was the second dump. And now the attorney says, so you're saying you don't even know if that happened. You don't believe that there was a second document dump. You don't believe that.
I just don't understand if he knew that he had to give up these documents and it was a serious thing, why he just wouldn't give them all at one time. Because from where I sit and from when I've been reading on both sides of the fence, he's been very cooperative this whole time. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to get indicted and go to fucking federal prison. Just saying.
Why didn't he give the documents? So now we've established that there was a first 15-box
statement. No, I don't know that there was a second.
Oh, you don't even know about the 15 boxes? I said the 15 boxes. We agree on the 15 boxes.
I'm saying 15. The second one, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that to be true. So again, I'm reading the same things that you are. And so I don't believe anything anymore until I actually see it with my own eyes. That's my new MO.
So if the National Archives had sent a letter, a private letter, not a letter they distributed to the world, it's National Archives. They have no interest in indicting. They have no political leaning. It's the archives. They just want their documents. If they sent out a letter, I think it was in June, and they walked through a chronology of this is what's happened. Here's the communications. Here's what we've gotten. Here's what we think exists. Do you believe that letter would be the truth? Or do you think somebody, like some conspiracy of like pedophile Democrats had created a letter anticipating
of course, the pedophile Democrats have done all the terrible things. Like, that's easy to answer. Yes.
Right.
Well, the chronology is saying, I mean, I have all of it written down. I literally timelined it out. So at the end of the day, let's see, June 3rd, there's 3 agents and Jay Bratt, Chief of Justice at the Department's Counterintelligence.
Look, it's not
arrived to collect. Right. But it specifies exactly what they did and what they came to do. Right. So, and then on June 8th, same thing. They did the letter that said, oh, there's still more shit or whatever.
Okay. So we at least established there's 15 boxes, and then there's the raid. Okay. That's fine. And then the second dump, we'll say it's contested, which is fine. Then
if they've already they sent a letter, Trump's team acknowledged it. And from my knowledge and from what I've read on a lot of different platforms, right? And I'm not just MAGA happy. Like, I look at everything because, again, I don't believe anything I read until I kind of start to put the pieces together. He was cooperating with the FBI. Why the raid? Why the theater? Why, that's theatrical. It's like, why the raid?
They don't? Because what if they don't think he's cooperating? What if they thought he was lying? And they have 4 witnesses who says, hey, there's a lot more documents that he hasn't given you. And hey, by the way, and I don't know if you read today some stuff came out that said the documents were not even in the storage room, that some of those documents were actually moved and put into different offices and other places where he might have been like he himself may have been actively concealing those documents and moved them out of the storage room to hide them.
So
That's
that
what
was a
witnesses
story
told
that
them.
attorney Alina Habba, the New York State Court, she said on May 5th that she actually searched his private residence up and down in every crevice and did not find any additional documentation stored anywhere else. And that I got from Politico.com.
But that you
So that
believe.
was one.
You
No,
believe that one.
I'm presenting you with additional pieces of information.
And by the way, I'm an attorney, right? And so I get these
Right.
types of requests all the time. Give me any and all
Right.
documents relating to blah,
That's
blah, blah.
it. You got to literally put it all together and figure it out. I'm just saying.
And as an attorney, I'm required to sign something that says this is what my client gave me. And the client also signs, usually the client, Trump never signs it, which is interesting. But usually the client says, I've made a reasonable diligent search. This is all I found. In this case, of course, Trump doesn't sign it because Trump doesn't sign anything. Trump is like the ultimate mafia boss who surrounds himself with all the sycophants. He does whatever they want.
Like, I would love to be that. Like, literally, there's no liability. My name isn't on there. I mean, come on, you wouldn't want that? You totally
no, of course.
That.
But that's kind of his MO, right? Like, he never makes a statement.
Was he brilliant then?
He never signs anything. But he's also a criminal, and he's basically hiding his tracks. But let's kind of go back, and we're going off the topic as we always do. So now we've established, right, that there's 15 boxes, and now the FBI shows up. And again, let's just assume with me, please, that they found more documents and he didn't actually produce them all. Okay. Let's assume that's the case. I know you don't believe it. I know you dispute it. It's fine.
So fine, there's extra boxes of documents. What are the documents? Why are they coming after these documents so hard? What is in that box and boxes?
Because they own them. Because it's owned by the United States government. You said the government doesn't care? What if they're top secret documents with like nuclear information? What if they expose the names of undercover FBI agents abroad? I mean, it's the government. I mean, they have secrets that they want to keep.
I mean, he was the president. He probably already knows that information, so he knows that information. It doesn't matter.
But genius! They're sitting in an unlocked fucking MarALago storage room with fucking 1,000 people coming in all day. You don't think somebody can walk in there and walk in the storage room and take it? You don't think the fucking Russians have people who can come in and take it? Oh my God.
How do we know it was in an unlocked storage unit?
We don't. That's why we have an investigation.
Point.
That's why we have an investigation.
The people leading the investigation aren't just out to prove a point and make him literally. They just keep coming after this dude. He hasn't even been in office
because he keeps doing things wrong.
He's not doing shit. He plays golf every day.
And he steals documents from the government.
Plays golf every day.
And steals documents. He steals documents.
He can't steal the documents. He's not in office.
Well, he already stole them.
So
he's not supposed to have them.
18 months later?
Yeah, he still has the documents 18 months later. Can you imagine?
I don't know.
18 months later, he hasn't given them back.
Elections are coming up, and, people don't want to get
Did you see the letters from the archive saying, please give them back to us? Yet he still has them 18. And you said earlier, you asked the question, why? Why would he keep them? What game is he playing? Who's he trying to extort? What's he trying to do? Why don't we have an investigation?
Here's where I sit, okay? I'm going to take this. I'm going to escalate this. I'm going to go down rabbit hole, and I'm just going to say it because I really don't care. At the end of the day, they keep coming after this man, okay? And he already knew they were going to come after him long after he wasn't in office anymore. He's not stupid. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this shit out. They've been after him from go. Whatever's in those documents, there is someone who doesn't want it to get out. I'm telling you. And if he would have released some of that stuff, because I'm telling you, not all of that is top secret. I don't believe all this. I don't believe it. There is something else going on. No, you are being blinded and you are not digging deep. You're an attorney and you are defending someone, right? You are on the Trump side, not the Biden side.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
How deep do you dig to defend your client?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
What color is the sun in your world?
It's purple and green. Dumbass. I don't know. It's white.
You guys,
yellow.
The mental gymnastics that you guys play to create it to be okay.
At noon, it's very bright whitish with a small yellowy tint. At sunset, it could be marigold. It could be burnt umber. I don't know.
what the
It
big
depends on the
problem?
time of day and
you know-
depends on the atmospheric conditions and the
know
cloud
what the
structure.
biggest problem is? Of
That's
your entire-
facts. That is not
Okay.
even like opinion.
You know what the biggest problem is?
We're running
You know
out
what
of
the
time.
biggest Can I tell you what the biggest problem is?
We've got 30 minutes.
We're at 30 minutes. It's over.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. My Dove deodorant is not currently doing its job.
I knew today was going to be a gnarly one. There was no question today was going to be.
What is it? Not gnarly, dude. Like
no, but this one was like. But no. I'll tell you when it's the gnarliest is when we can't agree on the facts. When it's opinions, I think it goes a little bit smoother because then we can try and convince, cajole, negotiate, whatever. When it's just like I see a sun that's yellow and you see a sun that's purple.
I don't think the sun is purple, you dimwit. I literally jokingly said it's purple and green. And then I said, hey.
I understand that you were joking. I'm using that as an example.
Don't even. That is
I recognize that you don't believe the sun is purple, but the joke was you live in a different world than me. But hey, you know what?
Oh, I live in reality.
You're quick like that. You pick things up.
Pieces of the puzzle together, and I don't just sit on one side of the fence. Yo.
You're the best. You look wonderful today, by the way. You look really good.
Thank you. Thanks. So do you.
No, I don't. Look horrible. Okay. Hey.
Oh my God. Self-deprecation is not a good color for you.
You are the best Catholic girl.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Assalamu alaikum.
Peace be with you.
See ya.